Well, hey, Book World. I am so excited to see you. Welcome to episode 4 of Young Adult Edition. Now, just a quick word. Last week, we were supposed to have an episode with an awesome author, and she had a bit of an emergency. She was not able to join us. So if you are watching our episodes in order, if you're going through our rebroadcasts, you will see that there is a little bit of an inconsistency. Because someone else was supposed to be our original episode 4, and this was supposed to be episode 5, but this is now episode 4. So you are in the right place. You did not miss anything, just to clarify. Today, we have an awesome author. I'm so excited. This is actually the first time that I got to see her face-to-face. We've been talking for a while, and I am so thrilled that she is here. Constance Roberts is here hanging out with us today, and before we bring her on, let's run our theme song. Okay, well, Constance is here today. We are so excited to have her. She is the author of Sigil and Shadow, and I am so grateful that she could join us today. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you. It's good to be here.
I'm so glad that you can make it today. I know we've been chatting for the last couple of weeks, and I'm really, really glad to get to see you face to face. So we're going to jump in. I'm so excited for this, and I want to hear all about your book in 1 minute. So this is how we usually introduce our show. I want in under 1 minute for you to tell me everything we need to know about your book. So I know you've got your phone. You want to pull that up with a timer, and we will get started whenever you are ready.
Okay. So my book, Sigil and Shadow, is sort of a rags to riches to ruin kind of story. It's about Ellery, who accidentally saves the life of a highborn officer of the king. And that officer runs and tells the king, this girl can bring people back from the dead. And of course, the king wants somebody who has that kind of power. So he summons her, and she's dragged to court. And she kind of goes along with that story, with that little fib, just to kind of protect herself and her family. And while she's at court, she has to keep up with that lie. And you know how things go when you're trying to keep up with the lie. You just lie more, and things get out of hand. And eventually she ends up in a dungeon and doesn't know who put her there, or why she's, or what she's being accused of, or why she's there. And so she kind of has to take the advice of this handsome stranger that's, you know, supposedly her accomplice in this crime, and they have lots of adventure. So, did I make it?
You did it.
I did.
You did. You had it right at the minute mark. That was awesome. Good job. That was fantastic. I think that you deserve some confetti for that didn't go well. My confetti never goes well on this show. Never. Oh well, I tried. I tried to give you confetti for that. Okay, so we are going to play a little bit of a game. I know you and I were chatting beforehand, and we are going to play 2 truths and a lie. And the last time we played this game, or I played this game on the show here, I failed miserably. And I usually don't fail miserably. So let's see what happens this time. I know you've got 2 sets for me, so go ahead and give me your first one.
Okay, so my first one, I'll do this one first. My first one is, I grew up on a cattle farm. The second one is, my weirdest pregnancy cravings are rocks and laundry detergent. And the third one is that I'm obsessed with true crime shows.
Okay, so 2 truths and a lie, right?
Yeah, 2 of those things are true. 1 of those is a lie.
I can't tell if you're trying to trick me with the rocks thing. I'm gonna guess that your pregnancy craving is your lie. I'm hoping I'm right.
No, I know it's a weird thing, but it's kind of common. It's called pica, and basically I just have low iron, and that makes me crave weird things that are not food. And the things that I crave are rocks and like the powdered laundry detergent. I don't eat it. I don't eat it because that's not healthy at all. But to curb that craving, I'm on iron supplements, and I actually like to chew ice. It happened with my daughter when I was pregnant with my daughter as well. But it just, once I'm not pregnant anymore, it just kind of goes away. So
That's so interesting. Now, if you guys don't know, she is pregnant right now. You are going to have a baby pretty soon, aren't you?
yep, baby boy. He'll be here November 29th. So yay.
Oh, that's so exciting. So go ahead, tell me which one was the actual lie.
I did not grow up on a cattle farm. I grew up across from a cattle farm, but we didn't actually own any of the cattle. So yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, so go ahead and give me your second set, and let's see if I can fail this one miserably too.
Okay. So my second set is, my friends and I were once followed around by paparazzi in Spain. I performed CPR on a plane once, and I wrecked my first car because I didn't want to hit a dog.
Oh my gosh, you're making this hard. Okay, I'm gonna say CPR on the plane. Guys, jump in the chat box. Tell me what you're thinking. Give me a little bit of help here. Let me know what you think. Yeah. Okay, tell me. Am I right?
What did you guess? The CPR on the plane?
CPR.
I did not. Yeah, that's right. I never had to give. Thankfully, I was a flight attendant, and we did have some medical emergencies, but nothing major to where I had to give CPR. So luckily, good job.
I feel like, yay! I'm so excited. I finally got one. I feel like after we go off air, you're gonna tell me all about this paparazzi thing because I need details.
Basically, I think they just mistook me for, because I was super blonde, so they probably thought I was some kind of pop star visiting Spain or something, and my friends were all blonde too. So they were probably like, one of those girls is probably Britney Spears. So,
well, there you have it, guys.
Yeah, I think that's
Britney Spears. That's so funny. My goodness. Okay, so now that we've been through our game, we need to talk a little bit about your book. And I know you've brought today an exclusive piece of information that nobody else knows. You have not announced this yet, and there might be a little bit more than one. So go ahead, tell me what you got.
Well, I haven't announced this officially. I've told a few close people who have been begging to know what it's about and everything, but I haven't made any official announcement. I am writing the sequel, and my readers do know that. I don't have a release date yet. Trying to get that finished, before the baby comes and everything. But I haven't told anyone or announced what the sequel is about, because it's not about Ellery, the main character in Sigil and Shadow. The second book is actually about the Princess Corinne and her story and what she has to do after Ellery, is not in the story anymore. And I finished Sigil, and I said, there's another story here with the princess, and I need to continue that. So it's going to be about Princess Corinne, not Ellery. But yeah.
That is fantastic. Well, I'm so excited because definitely want a sequel. So thank you so much for sharing that. That is totally awesome. So excited. Now, did you have something else you maybe wanted to mention, or are we keeping that?
I wanted to say I wanted to tell people that there will be at least one wedding. I can't say whose wedding or who's getting married or how many, but there's at least one wedding in the next book. So that's been really fun to write.
Okay, guys, you heard it. At least one. At least. Just saying. I'm just saying. Okay, so now that we've had our exclusive pieces of information, I need to know a little bit about you. And because we're all book lovers here, everybody in the chat room, everybody hanging out live, and those of us on screen, we are all book lovers. I need to know about your biggest book nerd problem. So what do you have for me?
My biggest book nerd problem that no one seems to understand unless you're a book nerd is I have to, if I start a series in, say, hardback, if I pick up a series in the first book as a hardback, I have to read the others in hardback because it has to match up and line up on my shelf. And it's not the same if I switch to ebook or whatever. And sometimes I know Sherry Ficklin's series, the Queen series, I started that in ebook, and I loved it so much I just went out and just bought all the paperbacks because I wanted to finish them in paperback. But I couldn't just read the second and the third one in paperback. So I bought all of them, and that's something that like people who don't read just kind of think is weird. Like my husband, I gave him a list of books he could get me for Christmas or birthday or whatever, and I had specifically written like, I need this one in hardback and I need this one in print, or paperback. And he comes to me a few days later. He's like, the ebooks of these books are a lot cheaper. And I was just like, it was like he slapped me in the face. Like, you want me to just read, just ebooks? Like, no, I do read ebooks. I got into it when I was a flight attendant, and, I couldn't carry 6 books in my flight bag. So I got into ebooks, and if I'm not sure about a new author or something, I always give it a try on the ebook first, and then if I end up really liking it, then I buy the whole series in print. But yeah, it's just something that he just kind of doesn't get. Like it has to look nice and line up all on the shelf together, and yeah, so that's probably my biggest book nerd problem.
Yep, I don't blame you there. It's got to be even, and it's got to be pretty, and it's all got to match. Now, guys, quick shout out, because we just mentioned Sherry Ficklin. She was on episode 2 of Young Adult Edition, and if you want to check out her books, we are actually giving away the first chapter of that on our site. So if you go and you check out the past episode, it's got the link to her first chapter of her first book, and there may be some other things we're giving away with that too. So just a shout out for that. Check out episode 2. So now that we've gone through this, we are actually going to talk a little bit about your book. So I know this is a very interesting concept, and I know you told us a little bit about this at the beginning of the show, and I wanted to know what you think about your characters. So I know you've got quite a few of them in there. Ellery is a very interesting person. So what can you tell us about Ellery and the situation that she finds herself in?
Well, the thing with my characters is when I write, I really like to put characters in places they don't belong, because I feel like that makes a good story. So Ellery, grows up in this kind of not smaller village, but it's not, it's not a very prosperous city. And so they kind of have a hard time during the winter, when crops aren't growing, and, nobody's buying anything, everybody's just saving up what they have and everything. So she actually makes her living growing herbs and making little balms and health potions, and well, not potions, but like health remedies, herbal remedies and things. And in the wintertime, her supply is kind of low because she can't grow anything. So she just lives with her dad, and her dad's kind of he's really sick, and to take care of him, she sells her hair so that she can buy him what he needs in order to get better and everything. And and that's kind of frowned upon. And so she kind of throws her prospects of finding a good husband, in the mud by chopping off her hair. But I wanted to put her in a situation where, I wanted to surround her with splendor and, have things that have her interact with people that are just totally on the other end of the spectrum. And I'm kind of planning on doing that to Princess Corinne in the second book too. So I like to torture my characters. I just do. So, yeah.
Now, see, I find her very interesting. So everything that's going on with her is very interesting within the story, because she is a princess and she does befriend Ellery. So can you tell me a little bit about their friendship?
Well, I can't go too much into how they become friends, but I think Corinne just kind of realizes, when she's thrown into this life in the palace, Corinne kind of realizes that she's out of her league and doesn't know what she's doing, because, with all the intrigue and backstabbing at court, the castle can be kind of a dangerous place, to live if you don't know how to interact with people or play the game, So I think she befriends her just so, because Corinne has kind of a soft heart. So she befriends Ellery, and then she realizes Ellery is actually like a really good person, and it kind of opens up her her view of people who aren't, you know, highborns and things. So they have a great friendship.
That's so awesome. Now, I know that there are some other people that actually have a lot to do with this story and really influence the way that Ellery is doing things. So, can you talk to me a little bit about Treya and what role she plays within the story?
Treya is kind of Ellery's mother died when she was younger. And it's just been her and her dad for a long time. And when Treya comes into the picture, Treya is actually the healer at the palace. My mind's totally blanking.
The apothecary?
Yeah, she runs the apothecary in the palace, and she works. You know, she's the physician, the court physician. And so when it's, you know, thought to be that Ellery can make a potion that brings people back from the dead, then the king sends her to work with the court physician. And Treya kind of comes from the same background that Ellery does. And so they get along really well. And Treya just kind of, for once, Treya's kind of taking care of Ellery instead of Ellery trying to take care of her family. And she kind of gets like that motherly figure that she hadn't had for a long time. And I really enjoyed writing Treya. And she's in the next book too. So yeah.
Oh, well, that's good news. We like to hear that. So, guys, we are about 10 minutes left within the show. So this is the point that we put our call out for questions. So if you are hanging out with us live, go ahead and look at the right side of the screen. You can see the chat box there. And if you have comments, go ahead and put those in. I see some of you have been chatting already. But if you have questions, go ahead and use that red question mark button so that we can kind of tell what's conversation and what is a question. If you can't find it, that's totally fine. We're going to be going through that in a minute anyway. But now is the time for you to pop your questions in, and we will get those answered in just a minute. Now, while you are putting your questions in the box, I want to tell you real quick about something that we have for you, because if you've been following us at Young Adult Edition, you know we like to give things away. And usually we give away a sample of the book. So if you are enjoying this, if you like what you've heard, if it sounds like an interesting story to you, now is the time to test it out, because we have the first chapter for you. So I am going to pop over to our chat box right now, and I'm posting the link to our giveaway in there. There you go. And if you're watching our rebroadcast, jump down in the show notes, because I have the direct link for you to download your sample chapter so you can see if this book is for you. I highly recommend it. You should definitely check it out, and then go and buy the full book, because you're going to want to after reading just one chapter. I know I took a look at it, and it's so interesting. So you definitely want to check that out. All right, so I'm going to jump over to the chat box and see what we've got as far as questions go. Let's see. Oh, Elise says she was hoping there would be more about the princess. So there you go. Oh, that's so funny. And she's happy about the wedding. Yay, that. All right, so here we go. So we want to know, why is it that you are choosing to write fantasy over contemporary? So we know within your books, you really like to go more of the fantasy route than anything contemporary. So can you tell me a little bit why you chose to go that way?
I think because I've always kind of, I told you guys I grew up like across from a cattle farm, so it was kind of a rural area, and you know, my backyard was just all woods, and you know, I'd make up stories about living in the woods or who I'd meet in the woods, and so I just kind of developed this love for fantasy. And then as I got older, I just kind of found like stories that didn't have, you know, nature or swords and, you know, lords and ladies and stuff, or castles or magicians or magic. I found those stories really boring, and I still kind of do today. There's once in a while something can grab me, you know, but I really tend to stick with fantasy, just because that's kind of the world I belong in, and so I tend to write more just more fantasy world-based stuff, and I love world building, and you can't do a whole lot of world building if you write contemporary. So that's one thing I really enjoy about writing, is world building, and so I have to do that for fantasy.
Yep, I understand that, and I love that get to world build so much with fantasy. So definitely, I agree with you there. I am not as much of a fan of contemporary as I am more of the fantasy genres, but I do have a couple book recommendations for you later, so we're going to chat about that after. So let's see. We've got a question about your. Oh, here's a good one. Okay, so if you do not know, ladies and gentlemen, Constance was just nominated for an award, and we want to hear a little bit more about that. So can you tell us what exactly you were nominated for and what all it means?
Well, I was nominated for a Whitney Award, and the Whitney Awards are actually for authors who are LDS or a member of the Latter-day Saint Church, and because there's a lot of us. So basically, any book that comes out in the year 2016 is, eligible or up for the award, and there's a whole committee of judges that finds these books and we'll put them out there, to see what the readers think, and then you can actually go and nominate. You can go and nominate books. It's still open for nominations, so if you want to go to that, it's just WhitneyAwards.com, like Whitney Houston, but WhitneyAwards.com. And you can, if you know any LDS authors, you can nominate their books. And after a certain number of nominations or something, I'm not exactly, this is my first time actually learning about it, so I'm not sure, but I think after a certain number of nominations, they become an official nominee, and then there's different categories, and they announce the finalists in February. So I won't even know till February if I'm a finalist, and then the winners are announced in May at this big awards gala. So I'm really excited about that and crossing my fingers, but I'm just excited just to be a part of it. So
Absolutely, and nomination is so fantastic, and I am so grateful that you were nominated for this award. That's an awesome honor. So congratulations on that. I have a question here, and I think this is going to be an interesting one. Within your stories, within the characters that you have written, do you have a favorite or one that you maybe want to point out? I know it's kind of one of those, we don't point out our favorite baby, but what do you have?
Well, there's certain characters that I love to write, and certain characters you kind of have to write. And you love all your characters, but you end up having that's more fun to write. And in Sigil, I'll just stick with one because I have another book that I published previously, self-publishing, but I'll just stick with Sigil. In Sigil, my favorite character is actually the Inquisitor. He just, so far right now, as far as anyone knows, he just has a title, not a name. So he is the Inquisitor, and his kind of sort of ability or gift is he can tell when people are lying, like by listening to them. I think in the book he describes it as the truth sounds different than a lie. So he can kind of pick up audibly when people are lying. And so he obviously works for the king and can, tell. It's really easy to figure out, in some sort of dispute, like who's telling the truth. But he's also he's not a highborn or anything. So he kind of comes from this back village and kind of likes to tease Ellery, and sort of, he kind of does things that, will backhandedly annoy her that he knows, but, and it's a lot of fun. My husband helped me develop him a lot. In like the first kind of draft, he was like, this guy is awesome. He needs to be in the book more. So if you like the Inquisitor, then you can thank my husband for that, because he helped me see, like, yeah, this is a really interesting character, and I'm writing him into the second book, and it is so much fun. He kind of doesn't care about rank and things like that, and he can be a little gritty, a little disrespectful, and it's fun to write that in the midst of all these proper highborn people. So I'd say he's my favorite to write so far.
That's so awesome. I love it when the people in our lives influence what we're writing. and they'd really speak into it and get that character that was maybe not something we thought was going to be a big, huge part, and really force us to develop it into something awesome. So yay for your husband. Good job. I've got a question here asking about your ideas. So it sounds like we've got somebody who is an aspiring writer. Where is it that you are getting your inspiration from and your ideas to kind of give them a little bit of help?
Well, I'm always daydreaming. My mind just kind of runs a mile a minute. And I'm always like, I always play the what if game. Like if I see kind of a story on the news or, even a road sign will make me think of something and be like, well, that's a neat story, but what if this happened or what if that? And then usually I transform it into a fantasy sort of setting. With Sigil, I just saw a pair of earrings on Pinterest. And they were gorgeous earrings. And if you read the book, you'll understand what I'm talking about. But and I just saw these earrings, and I'm like, what is the story behind these earrings? And so I just kind of wrote it. I just sort of made it up in my head, and then it turned into this thing that would keep me up at night. And I just had to write the book. So it just, things just kind of pop up. But always, if you're looking for ideas, read a lot, and just kind of take your own twists on things, and always ask yourself, like, what if this was different? Or, the what if game is my favorite thing in the whole world. And daydreaming can just lead to infinite possibilities. So keep dreaming.
That is fantastic advice. And that is a great way to end this because we are just about at the end of our time. So we're going to get this wrapped up. We have one more little segment that we are going to be doing together, and that is our kisses and confetti. It worked that time. So we are going to be doing kisses and confetti. Our kisses are for the things that we love, and our confetti is for the people that we love. And so every week on Young Adult Edition, we ask for kisses and confetti, where we shout out something that was really awesome this week that we totally love, and we shout out someone that we really love. So who was awesome and deserves a shout out today? Give me your kisses and confetti.
Okay, my confetti will be for my best friend who's getting married. And we just had a bachelorette party for her last night, and it was so fun. And we went to the Cheesecake Factory, and we did a painting class, which was really fun. And I love her so much, and I'm so happy to be her maid of honor because she supported me in everything that I do. She's supported every dream I've had, and just anytime I need her, she's just like when and where, and she's just the most amazing person. So she gets confetti. Woo! And then my kisses would probably have to be for, I'm really into these fragrant jewel candles that actually have like little rings inside of them. And I think I have one right here. These candles, and they're huge, and they smell awesome. And then, you burn them for a little while, and then you get a pretty ring from it. I don't know if you can see one of my pretty rings. So, kind of addicted to those. So those get my kisses this week.
Fantastic. Now, I know we didn't really get to talk about your awesome part of this week because somehow I managed to skip over that on my list of things to do today. So real quick, I know with your painting that you did last night at your bachelorette party, we were going to hold that up. So go ahead, take a second and show us what you made.
Woo! It's actually the my friend is really into The Nightmare Before Christmas, and this is sort of, well, my Jack kind of looks like a frog, but forgive me, I'm an amateur. But this is supposed to be like The Nightmare Before Christmas with a starry night background, and it was really fun, and it was hard, but we did it. So
that looks fantastic. I love that. All right. Well, Constance, thank you so much for hanging out with us today. I truly appreciate you coming on. If you could grab your confetti, we're going to do one more confetti toss, and then I'm going to wrap this up. So go ahead, say something so it flips back to you, and throw some confetti.
Thanks for having me today. Thanks for watching.
Well, we appreciate you so much. I loved having you on today, and I cannot wait to have you back on Young Adult Edition another time. And speaking of Young Adult Edition, guys, I want to let you know about next week because we have a very special event here at Young Adult Edition. It's actually a crossover episode with my other show, RTTV. So Young Adult Edition is where I bring authors on, and they get to hang out with their fans for half an hour during a live broadcast. And then a half an hour after that, I go live and I teach authors on marketing, on branding, and on social media strategy. And I bring on my book world professional friends to educate my authors as well. And we are doing a crossover episode, so I'm having a whole bunch of my fabulous authors join me next week for both Young Adult Edition and RTTV, and we are going to be in costume. We are going to be ready to go for our Tricks and Treats special, where we are giving everybody treats during Young Adult Edition, so you get some exclusive information from these awesome authors, and then we're giving out tricks during RTTV, where we are giving authors tricks that have worked for these authors. It's going to be an amazing time full of costumes and fabulousness. I'm so excited for it, so make sure you join us next week for that. Same time, same place. Links will be up on our Facebook page, and we're going to go ahead and drop all of our links in the chat box. Actually, I did that earlier, so it's in the chat box right now. If you are joining us for our rebroadcast, those are down in the show notes, and you will have access to this really fun time next week with all of my fabulous authors. Now, if you are an author who would like to be on Young Adult Edition, reach out to me. Jump on my Facebook page, jump on our website, and contact me, and I will get you information about being on the show here, and we will get you on as soon as possible, as long as we're a good fit and everything's good and we're ready to go. I am so excited to see you. So if you are an author or you know an author, let me know. Now, if you are a fan who wants to see a specific author, jump in that chat box or jump in the comments or jump on our Facebook page and let me know who you want to see. Go ahead and tag your author if you are on our Facebook page so that they can see that you want to see them on the show too, and have them and their fabulous books on live so that you can ask them questions and hang out with them live. Thank you so much for joining us today, guys. I have loved seeing each and every one of you. Thanks for hanging out in the chat room. We will be in touch with you again, and we will see you next week. I'm KM Robinson of KM Robinson Photography and Reading Transforms. Stay inspired.